The 2024 US presidential election will forever be etched in the annals of history as one of the most divisive and consequential. Against all odds and defying most expert predictions, Donald J. Trump returned to the White House after a 4-year hiatus. His victory over incumbent Vice President Kamala Harris sent shockwaves across the nation and the world. It exposed the raw, deep-seated divisions in American society. This was not merely a political contest, it was a battle for the soul of America. The election night unfolded with nail-biting tension. Early results showed a tight race, mirroring the pre-election polls. But as the night wore on, a familiar pattern emerged. Trump began to outperform expectations in rural areas and key battleground states, echoing his surprise victory in 2016. The blue wall, once considered a Democratic stronghold, showed cracks, with states like Pennsylvania and Michigan ultimately falling to Trump. Harris, who had campaigned on a message of unity and progress, struggled to overcome the powerful wave of populism that propelled Trump back into the Oval Office. Her appeals to reason and moderation seemed to fall on deaf ears among a significant segment of the electorate who felt unheard and left behind. As the final results trickled in, confirming Trump's victory, a sense of disbelief and anxiety gripped much of the nation. The political landscape, already deeply polarized, seemed to fracture even further. The question on everyone's mind was stark: how could this happen again? Kamala Harris's path to the 2024 Democratic nomination was anything but conventional. After a tumultuous first term, marked by internal divisions and legislative gridlock, President Biden announced he would not seek re-election, paving the way for Harris to assume the mantle. Many saw her candidacy as historic, representing the potential for a more inclusive and progressive America. Harris's campaign initially generated significant enthusiasm, particularly among women and minority voters. She presented a stark contrast to Trump, offering a message of competence, experience, and a commitment to democratic values. Her criticisms of Trump were sharp and direct, focusing on his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic, the economy, and the January 6th insurrection. However, as the campaign progressed, Harris faced several significant challenges. She struggled to shake off the perception of being too moderate and cautious, particularly among younger, more progressive voters. Her record as a prosecutor also drew scrutiny, with some questioning her commitment to criminal justice reform. Moreover, the Harris campaign seemed to underestimate the enduring appeal of Trump's populist message. Her attempts to appeal to disaffected Trump voters often fell flat, failing to resonate with their deep-seated economic anxieties and cultural resentments. In the end, Harris's campaign, while groundbreaking in many respects, proved unable to overcome the powerful forces that propelled Trump back to power. To understand Trump's improbable comeback, one must delve into the complex web of factors that fueled his enduring popularity. Despite facing numerous scandals, investigations, and a global pandemic during his presidency, Trump never lost his grip on a significant portion of the American electorate. His ability to tap into a deep vein of anger, resentment, and distrust towards the political establishment remained as potent as ever. Central to Trump's appeal was his mastery of populist rhetoric. He positioned himself as the champion of the forgotten man. Railing against the elites and deep state he accused of rigging the system against ordinary Americans. His message resonated strongly with those who felt left behind by globalization, technological change, and the perceived cultural liberalism of the Democratic Party. Trump's campaign rallies became legendary for their fervent energy and us versus them rhetoric. He skillfully exploited cultural anxieties, stoking fears about immigration, crime, and the erosion of traditional values. His supporters, drawn to his charisma and his promise to make America great again, seemed impervious to the numerous controversies that plagued his candidacy. Trump's return to power was not simply a rejection of Kamala Harris. It was a resounding affirmation of Trumpism as a political force. It demonstrated the deep divisions within American society and the enduring appeal of a populist message that promised to upend the status quo. Section 4. A convicted president, uncharted territory. Trump's 2024 victory was unprecedented in another, more troubling respect. He became the first person in American history to be elected president after being convicted of a felony. In the aftermath of the January 6th insurrection, Trump faced numerous legal challenges, culminating in his conviction on charges of obstruction of justice related to his efforts to overturn the 2020 election results. While the conviction was widely seen as a historic rebuke of Trump's actions, it did little to dampen his support among his base. In fact, many of his supporters viewed the prosecution as politically motivated, further solidifying their belief that Trump was a victim of a witch hunt by his opponents. Trump's election as a convicted criminal sent shockwaves through the American political system. It raised profound questions about the rule of law, the peaceful transfer of power, and the very foundations of American democracy. Critics argued that his victory represented a dangerous erosion of democratic norms and a validation of his authoritarian tendencies. The long-term implications of electing a convicted criminal as president remain to be seen. However, it is clear that Trump's return to power has ushered in an era of uncertainty and instability in American politics. The very legitimacy of American democracy is now being called into question, with potentially far-reaching consequences for the future. Section 5. The Long Shadow of 2024, America's Uncertain Future. The 2024 election cast a long shadow over America, leaving the nation deeply divided and uncertain about its future. Trump's victory, while celebrated by his supporters, filled many Americans with a sense of dread and foreboding. The prospect of another 4 years under his leadership, particularly after his tumultuous first term and subsequent legal troubles, raised serious concerns about the direction of the country. The implications of Trump's return are manifold and far-reaching. His victory emboldened populist and nationalist movements, both domestically and internationally, signaling a potential shift away from democratic norms and institutions. His policies, often characterized by protectionism, isolationism, and a disdain for multilateralism, threatened to upend the global order established after World War II. Moreover, Trump's divisive rhetoric and scorched earth political style further polarized an already fractured American society. His presidency seemed to exacerbate existing social and cultural divisions, leaving the country more divided than it had been in generations. As America moves forward from the tumultuous 2024 election, the path ahead remains uncertain. The challenges facing the nation are immense, and the divisions within society run deep. Whether Trump's second presidency will serve to heal these wounds or further exacerbate them remains to be seen. One thing is certain: the long-term consequences of his unlikely comeback will continue to shape the American political landscape for years, if not decades, to come.